Get down. Let me clear my throat. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm out to get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informants informant, that information forming. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focus on scoring. Got your underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the kick rock, skipping the country squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots. Ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I don't whip out a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I don't whip out a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with peasant needles. So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Anything we make up or just break up, and the snake hits get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up if I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle and lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, keep pushing me to progression like I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I don't whip out a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I don't whip out a need of a validation. Yeah.
Great Thursday evening. I'm going to make the rest of my life. What now? The best of my life. Good evening. What's popping, good people? Welcome to our Thursday night one-on-one time. As you know, this is Bravo with Sheila, and I am your co-host, Lady Dawn B. But tonight, I'm actually riding in the host seat. So we're giving Auntie a little break. But I got some good people with me, and we're going to have a great conversation. So before we go further, if you can hear me, please put a 1 in the chat just so we know that we are good to go, because we don't want you to miss any part of this great conversation. Hey, our number one Bravette, and Nay, let's go. That's right. And they make the losing my... So this is why we have alternates. So bear with me 1 second. I promise I'll be right here. I hope you can still hear me. Just give me 1 second. This is what happens in life, right? All right. I'm going to get to a real good connection, so don't y'all worry. Don't you worry. Okay, because I don't want nothing interfering with us tonight. Can you hear me? Are we good again? All right, very good. Awesome. So in the meantime, I'm going to introduce my guest on tonight, if that's all right. So, as you know, on Bravo with Sheila, we come together to have great conversation. Life be riding, life be lifing, but we rolling on with life, right? We're going to make it do what it do anyway. So on tonight for this great conversation, and I want to give honor and you come on, give a good bravo to Auntie Sheila, who I call my Auntie Sheila, my mentor in these YouTube podcast streets. She is known to everyone and anyone. She is amazing, and I thank God for her trusting me with this space of this conversation on tonight. So I brought a couple of friends with me to talk about this really good topic. So, as you know, some may and some may not. She is no stranger to the Bravo with Sheila platform. She is one of our Bravo Bravettes, Bravateers, the Lady Elaine Edwards. One of my besties. Say
Hey,
what's
everyone.
up, Elaine. And then new to the Bravo with Sheila platform, she is not new to me. She is my sissy, my sister in Christ, just a amazing educator. And listen, she has some awesome tidbits. If you need a little something to get your day going or a little boost, whatever it is you need, you got to get with her. And to welcome my girl, my sister, my friend Tanya to the stage. Come on, give her a good
Everybody. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for being here with us. And then I'm going to bring it down a little bit because we needed a little testosterone in the mix. So I'm going to, if he's good, he can come on camera whenever he is ready. But I know him for a very long time. A matter of fact, I've known him for 54 years. And he is in the person of my big brother, my mother and father, none other than the Donald Brathwaite, and we welcome him to the stage, to the Bravo for the brave brother on tonight. Welcome, and welcome, Donald. So, on tonight, we want to get started with this great conversation, and our topic for tonight is strong female energy. Does it replace the male presence? Good question. Now, how this topic came about actually is because I was having a conversation with some of my other girlfriends, and a lot of us, we are with this woman hear me roar, and we just beating our chest because we can do all these amazing things now, and I don't need a man to do A, B, C, or D. And I caught a little flack because I was like, well, I used to think like that too. But truth be told, I don't really think that we can really rest in that anymore. So, we had a little bit of a debate going on, but I thought it might be a good conversation for us to talk about because, there was a time when women couldn't vote. We didn't have a whole lot of rights. We couldn't buy homes in our names. We couldn't buy a car in our name. We had to be, back in the day, I heard them say, barefoot and pregnant. That's the only we were good for, and because of the pressures of those type of situations or that time that we were in, a lot of women took to the streets. We rose up like women do. We like, I'm women, hear me roar. I can do it. And we started fighting for our rights. And we got them. But somewhere along the line, I feel like we went a little too far over the edge. While we have our rights, and while it is important that we our voices are heard and we are valued, but somewhere along the line, we seem to have switched roles so much that we really boxed our men out. We really have taken away some of the I don't want to say, I'm gonna say task for lack of a better word, some of the task, some of the presence that our men bring into our lives, and some of the importance of why they are there. So yes. Okay, and they put your card away. I'm just saying, listen, I was there. I was she. I was like, nope, I don't need no man. Guess what? I got my own apartment. I got my own job. I'm paying my own bills. I have had several cars. I pay for them all by myself. I take care of me. I do my hair, my nails, my feet. Bro, what you gonna do for me? What you got? When you come into this table, what you got? What you coming with? Oh, I could do that. I could do that, and I could do that. But I realized that by having that attitude, I pretty much pushed off like a lot of good men. So my independence actually became like a barrier because I devalued some of the really good men that were in my life. So maybe I didn't need you for this, but does that mean that I don't need you at all? Because when we come off with that statement, what you gonna do for me? Like I could do that for myself. What you gonna do? You know how we are, and we gonna talk and keep it real on tonight. This is gonna be a hot 60 minutes. So, that's how this conversation came about. So I said, let me pull some of my people together and let's stir it up like we do here on Bravo with Sheila. So I want to know what your thoughts and your feelings are about this statement. Does our strong female energy replace the strong male presence? So, who wants to jump in? Tanya, you know what? I'm gonna let you go first, and then we.
I think that, many times we feel that way. I think about myself when I was like in high school. I can remember. Now, I grew up in a two-family home with a very strong old school dad. Old school, Southern old school. And so I was around uncles and people who was really a strong presence. But somewhere I saw a lot of people where I felt like they was dependent on males. And somewhere I was like, I'm gonna get my education and I'm going to, get an education. I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have that. And so somewhere along the line, I was thinking, I'm gonna be strong. And if in case someone's not there, I won't need them because I will make enough money and I will be good on my own. So I definitely thought that. And so as I got my education, but I got married early. So, I still had a strong male presence, but I definitely thought it because I figured I need to make sure that I'm solidified and I have what I need.
Regardless. And no, that's good. And you made a very good point. You said in case, just in case. And that is very key. For us, we do need to be secure just in case, in the event, because anything could happen. He could get sick, he could die. And we know that, just life happens. He could leave. And what happens? Women are left not knowing how to pay a bill, not knowing how to survive. And now your whole life is just in shambles and you can't get yourself together. But, truth be told, the in case, I feel like it is an exception. But so many of us have tapped into that as the rule. And we've let that in case lead us to the point where we can't even let a man in at all. And so normally before I move on to Elaine, because I know my burn gonna have some good stuff. I don't want our male who is present to feel like, normally it's ladies first. I know he just went off camera, but I just wanted to give him an opportunity to chime in for a minute if he could or would, or if he wants to wait until after Elaine. What say you, big brother? All right, we're going to let him pop back in later. See, so we gave them an opportunity, I'm just saying. So come on, Elaine, and share your thoughts on what we say so far tonight.
I agree with Tanya. I also grew up with a two-parent home. My dad was very strong as the head of the household. That's what I saw. That's what I knew. So as I got older and I did not find that, I then became, internally, well, if I have to do it by myself, I might as well be by myself. And I know many of my girlfriends have said that. But now that I've gotten older, I think it also takes that one person to come into your life and change all of that. And it's all about the timing too, because you have to be open to that person. Because now I know, Lady Dawn B and I have these conversations, and I'm like, oof, what a difference it is. It's just those little things. For instance, I may not have always wanted to put things together, but I would always pay somebody to come and put those things together. Now I don't have to ask. I don't have to beg. It just gets done. So I think, and that's just in your personal life, like being a business owner or an entrepreneur, you can still have that strong female presence because you earned it. You started your business, but I think we have to learn like when to turn it on and when to turn it off, and not discount the male presence in our lives, whether it's father, partner, boss, or uncles. I think that male presence energy deserves to be where it's supposed to be. And our female energy, we have to learn that that doesn't mean you get to take over the world without the male, because we don't know what that looks like without males. So I think we have to learn as females, when we can turn it on and when we can turn it off. And if you meet a male who is not used to your strong female presence, he might not be the one you're supposed to be with, work with, laugh with. We don't know. So I think we just have to learn when it's appropriate to step strong and when it's okay to be meek. And to me, strength is in the meekness, knowing when and where to do it.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And I like what you said, Bern, because to me, what I'm hearing when you were saying it's really about balance. It's balancing.
Yeah.
Knowing when to rest in that, when you need to rest in your feminine energy versus when you need to put on that boss hat and go in like a trooper. And that's really important because no man wants to be with a man. I'm just saying. Y'all understanding the context in which I'm saying. No man that's with a woman wants to be with a male woman. You know what I'm saying? That's a conversation another day, but y'all know where I'm going.
Exactly.
He wants he wants you to rest in your female energy, but at the same time, he should not be intimidated by your strength. As a matter of fact, sometimes our strength and our independence, a lot of times, is one of the things that attract men to us. Because at the same time, and I don't want to say no man, because we can't. I have not surveyed every man in the earth, so I don't want to say all men, but there are some men who don't. Again, they don't want to be with a alpha female 24 hours a day. They want to be able to, like what you're doing, and when you are operating in this particular facet, they are like, that's my boo thing. They cheering on. They just very excited just to see you move. But when you go home, you got to know when to turn that off. So it speaks to balance. And, one of the questions that, I did have was, why do we have to choose? Do you think we have to choose? And Bern, you led right into that. But why do we have to choose? Because a lot of women walk around with that, like, I am independent and that is it. And period. And I don't need a man. And if that is your, if that's your flow, if that's your vibe, if that's your feel, sister, go ahead. I'm with you. If you like it for you, I love it for you. But why do we have to choose? Why can't we have both? So what do you ladies think about that?
I agree, first of all, what Elaine said, because she really led into it. Thinking about some type of a balance. We need a balance. So if you're leading at work all day long and you come home and then you want to lead them as well, and it starts to feel emasculating to men. And so sometimes, like, we have to learn how to be softer sometimes, because sometimes we can be mean. It can come off as being mean sometimes. Yeah. And I think a lot of women don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit that sometimes the strength that they're saying that they have, it can come off as mean and not nice. And it can also feel intimidating. No one wants to come home and have someone barking orders at them all the time. So how do we balance that? Thinking about our tact tone, the tone we use. If you're using a certain tone when you're at work because you're a supervisor, or even think about myself being an educator where I have to command my class all day. Well, now when I'm at home, how am I speaking to my partner? How am I speaking to? How am I answering? You may be stressed out, frustrated, and all that, but how do you navigate that? That whole thing where everybody starts saying, I don't need no man. And I'll be looking like, oh, I don't think that, because there are certain things, I definitely, when people be saying that, I be like, oh no, I'm strong and independent. I buy my own things, when I was no longer married, and I buy my own things, and I have to, but when it's time, we had a major snowstorm, I was looking like, oh, I wish I had somebody to help me with this snow outside. I bet you I wanted somebody to help me put together that table to be put together. So I wasn't thinking, when people be saying that, I was looking at them like, oh, bless you, but I don't feel that way. I just one quick a story, and I don't know where everybody is spiritually, but I remember when I had gone through a certain situation, a lot of times women become hardened by things. And so if they are in a situation that caused them pain and trauma, sometimes they can then take that stance. I don't need anybody. I don't want to deal with anybody. And I remember after coming out a very traumatic relationship, that happened to me, where I was feeling like, look, I said, okay, Lord, I'll just be by myself. I'm good. And I remember I would meet people, and they would always say to me, is what you said, Elaine. Like, they would say, well, wow, you're kind of aggressive. And, and I'm like, aggressive. I'm like, first, I'm a New Yorker. So you don't like direct. I don't tell you, I would go into that defense mechanism. You don't like New Yorkers. I don't know what to tell you. I'm direct. I'm from the Bronx. Like, I wouldn't want to go there. And then I remember one night the Lord was like, you're nicer to your female friends. And I kind of said, wait. And I had to, I was like, wait, did I hear that right? And he was like, you're nicer to your female friends. You're nicer to them. And it kind of made me pause. And I had to kind of really think about what I was doing. And so I could pivot, and I had to heal some things inside. So I think trauma and pain can cause women to go to that extreme end, but they really don't believe that. And that's just my view on it.
Right.
No, I agree. And I feel like a lot of us, we rest so hard in our female energy because we don't believe that there is a man that will come along and do the things that we want or we need done. And we are basing that off of what the last man did, or what 10 years ago when I was in high school, and, Derek broke my heart, but now it's 25 years later and you're still holding on to that. So, we've let this one moment in time paralyze us in this space, to the point where, again, we're like, well, if that's how men are, I don't need a man. But he was like 12, and now we are 30, or, well, we're not 30, but you know what I'm saying. But we're going to be 30 tonight, and we really are a lot of us are depriving ourselves, like you said, because we haven't healed from whatever that is. So the wound is still fresh, even though it may have, healed up on the outside and we have a little scar. A lot of wounds run really deep that we have to deal with, and so it is very important that we understand that we don't have to choose, which leads us into, another question that I want to ask about it. Because we're all independent women, all three of us. And I'm sorry, my brother's having some technical difficulties. So hopefully he'll be back on so we can hear some male presence up in here. But we don't have to choose between the two, and why we allowed ourselves to believe that we have. And I think also a lot of it is because of stories that we've heard. We get together and we talk with women that are just as hurt as we are. A lot of times when we're hurt, we will share our story with someone who was already hurt in that same area. because we know that they're, number one, going to understand. Number two, they've been there and have some experience. But at the same time, we need to be mindful because we don't know if they've really healed or not.
Mm,
So, it's kind of that misery loves company kind of a moment, and all of
right.
us are just, and and no one's getting any better. And we just gonna be besties forever, and we gonna die together. If you retire to Florida, I retire to Florida. That's not the companionship. That's not
If
the
you move to
companionship.
North Carolina, I would love it. I'm just saying.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. You know, um, but truthfully, that's not the companionship that we want. It's just that's the easier place to find companionship than it is doing the work of healing to get
Yeah,
to a good place. You
yeah,
know, um,
I
but
agree.
go ahead,
I was
go
gonna
ahead,
say, I think that when people, I meet a lot of women, I'm sure as we all do, and we've all heard them moan, groan, and complain. A few years back, I went to lunch with a few ladies that I had just met at this job, and I was the only one who wasn't married sitting at the table at lunchtime, and they were all complaining about their husbands. And I was like thinking I had been punked. Like, how did I get to this invite? And I made kind of like a promise to myself then that I would not do this in a group setting like this again, because, and they weren't looking for you to agree with them. They were just all laying it out on the line about, but I, in my head, I was like, so you have nothing good to say about your partner? Nothing? But and then when you get past that, then there's the bitterness, then there's the regret. I wish I had never gotten married. And then one of them did get divorced, and now it's like it's just me and my kids. I don't need, a man. But if you meet someone and you're open, you they have to really be tuned into you to give you that space to feel comfortable to rest in your femininity without
yeah,
making you like you're losing something or changing who you are or putting airs on. I think that it just takes someone who understands, or you have to go back and do the work and get the healing. Because if you don't do that, you're never going to be open, and you will never have. And the things that we say, we know biblically, if you speak those things, that's what's going to happen. So if you want to be alone and you don't need a man, keep saying that. If you
right.
want to be in a very comfortable, giving, give and take relationship, that's what you have to work towards. And then you have to look towards yourself, inner, to do the healing. Everybody's got to do their own work to get their own healing. And I think that's the beginning.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And I just want to pause. We had some comments up before, so I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm half blind, so y'all pray for my good eye. Okay. But we want to say hi to Sir Hale. He is giving greetings to all of us. Sir Hale he's an amazing podcaster out here in these streets. And oh, and my sissy, my fellow author, Theodora Carter, she says, yes, healing is a choice and a journey. It is not easy, but once you make the choice and do the work, what is on the other side is worth the journey. I absolutely
Amen.
agree. Couldn't have said it better. And hello to Blind Guy and his wife, their life. Thank you for tuning in on tonight. As you see, for those of you who are coming on, it is me, Lady Dawn B. We have given Auntie a break on tonight, and we are just having some good conversation, talking about the strength of a woman and our independence. Does it replace the strength of male presence? So we have my brother on here. He's having some technical difficulties, so I want to give him space to share and ask him a question while he can. So Donald, big brother, and this is my big brother for real, y'all. We birthed by the same mother and father. He's number
Yes.
204, and I'm 404 in the Brathwaite clan. That's how we do this. But Donald, I want to.
Multiply that.
Oh,
If you multiply the
go
two
ahead, number
four,
two. I want to ask you this,
so,
um,
yes.
from a man's perspective. What is the point, the purpose, and the power of the male presence?
So you said, what is the purpose, the point, and the power of the man, of the presence
of
of the
of
man,
the of the male presence. As the
of the male
man, you
presence?
come to do what?
Well, if I may, and I hope I'm being heard clearly.
Yes, we can hear you, bro.
All right. So the Bible describes the man as God's first creation, and I'm not going into where maybe some of y'all might be thinking I'm going. Just hear me out. So the Bible says that the Bible tells me that the man is God's first creation, and that He gave man dominion over earth, and then He blessed man with woman, and that He put man in leadership of the woman and all of the earth. Just paraphrasing. So the purpose of a man is to serve God's will, and in doing that, if I understood the order of your question, um, man's purpose to obviously take care of his home, take care of his partner, the woman, and be the provider, be provisional, be her protector, be her strength, uh, be be her BFF. You know, uh, I'm just thinking off the cuff that there's just so many things that a man is purposed to do, and so that was what his purpose is. The next P you said my sister was.
You can go in any order you want. The power, the purpose, and how the male presence affects
All right.
the
So I
family
just
or the relationship.
okay. So I just described the power, and I believe I touched on the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I had to sum it all up, to be honest with you, um, man's purpose is to honestly serve God, and God gave direction on how women are to be served and how you are to choose a wife, as opposed to a wife choosing you. Because I've had some friends that had their wives choose them, which I quite don't quite really get what that's about. But anyway, um, and I think where sometimes a lot of us fellas get lost is in our pride. Um, some fellas get lost in our pride because the woman may make more money. She may be more successful. She may be more outgoing. She may get things done where he may not get things done. Because truth be said, to all of us men that can own this, sometimes we're given a mission, uh, and we don't follow through on the mission. So that's tend to step right in and take over and take charge and take the lead. And I don't necessarily think a man should feel insecure because a woman makes more money or she's more accomplished or that she takes the lead. I think the man needs to understand that he needs to be secure within himself, because if I go back to what I said, God made man leadership. God put man in leadership. God put an expectation on man to be an example, to have power and to exercise that power in the right way. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, some of us, there are men who don't take, who don't really swallow their pride. They don't reset themselves. They don't take accountability. Um, their go-tos aren't the best choices, meaning alcohol or womanizing or drugs or hanging out or gambling. The list goes on. Every man, should be able to reset himself and figure out, what am I missing, what am I not doing, what do I need to be better at? Because here's where I also think is the reason behind why there are women that take charge. It's because no woman wants to feel like if I don't have a take charge leader, then why should I follow her? If I don't have a take charge husband, if my husband is, I'm not saying my husband, I'm sorry, if the husband is not taking his role seriously, if he's not being accountable for his role, then of course that woman, especially if she's an outgoing woman, an empowered woman, is going to honestly have to make a choice for what's best for her. Really, of a weak man, and I like to be very transparent with what I'm saying, because there's been that moment in my life when I was the weak man. allowing myself, just being lackadaisical, not taking things seriously, kind of figuring I can get back to it. And when the woman I was with at the time took initiative, I had a problem with that, but I still did not remedy my problem in order for her to step aside. So of course, once she took leadership, she kept the role. And
Right.
at some point, I realized that, you know what, that wasn't her fault. That was my fault. I dropped the ball on that. Now, if I may just alter a little bit to a few things I heard all you ladies say, I don't have anything against a woman being empowered in leadership. I don't see a problem with that, unless that woman goes overboard and tries to basically take control of the man. And I've seen that experience happen not only to myself but to other men. Um, there are just some women that I know I've met, worked with, involved with in the past that was just overbearing. They were just doing too much. And that's when I used to basically say, hey, can you take a step back and let me step where I'm supposed to be and not be behind you? Because it's not that I'm offended you taking the lead, but you can't lead in everything. And I think I heard one person say or make comment or make the reference that I hear so often is, oh, a woman saying, I don't need a man. I don't need a man. Yes, you do. You do need a man. It's a partnership. See, God created man and woman, so he put the two together for a reason. So even though you're saying you don't need a man, maybe what you mean to say is, I don't need a man like the one I was with or the one I'm with.
That's a
Maybe
great, hold
that
on, hold
woman.
on. Because that was a great point right there. That was a great point right there.
I hear you.
I
All
said
I
that was
mean, no, I heard you. All
okay.
I would suggest is a woman that thinks in that direction, reevaluate what your priorities are in terms of what your expectation is of a man. Because I'm trying to be general. I'm trying to generalize. I'm not trying to generalize. Because as women grow up, from girlhood to womanhood, every woman I would think would want to be married. So she has this dream as to what that marriage would look like, what that man would look like. Unfortunately, I've met some women that made poor choices based on just the man asking her to marry him, knowing that he's really not the best for me. He really doesn't do anything. He's not paying my telephone bill. He's not paying my automobile bill. Maybe you could chill that however that song goes. He don't measure up to your expectation. But some women, and men do it too. But some women, just settle for what they have because it's a baby daddy situation or it's a self esteem issue. And I've told a lot of my uh, female friends a man can only do what a woman allows. So y'all have so much more control and power where in the areas that you should have it in that a man will only do what you allow him to do.
Okay, so
So
let
if
me
you
jump in. Let me
yeah
jump in real quick right there because you made a very good point, and Blind Guy and his wife and their life also made a comment that says we are definitely in need of men who can take the lead, and he's speaking to the same thing somewhat that you've mentioned. He says we are definitely in need of men who can take the lead. Leaders are what most people prefer. It provides structure.
yeah
So, as you were saying, when a man is not in his place, and then the woman has to step up now and fulfill that job or that
yeah
task,
yeah
it's hard for us to then revert back because the number one emotion that happens in there is disappointment. We are
yes
disappointed
Mm.
because you didn't come through. We are
yeah that's
then
true
frustrated, number two, because now we have to pull something out of us from a place we didn't even know we had, or a space that we were not really created in a sense to be in, to make sure it gets done. And then the third issue that comes with that is it becomes a trust issue. Because
yes
now that
yes
I've had to fix this, stand in this, I don't know that I can allow myself to go back to trusting you to do this because I don't want to be disappointed again. So it's a really vicious cycle, that we get into. And I love and appreciate your transparency, about what the point and the purpose and the presence of a man is. Ladies, do you want to share on that as well? Do you agree? What are your thoughts?
I definitely agree. Donald was dropping some gems there, and that whole leadership piece. And also, when I kept thinking about it for myself, thinking about a sense of security. Women want to feel secure. I think about being a child. I felt secure because I had my parents, but knowing that my dad, if anything went down, we already knew Frank Williams wasn't playing about his wife, his kids. So it's the same thing. Women want to feel a sense of security. I know for me, being a strong female, I could never marry or be with a man that's kind of weak because I need things to get done. But then also, if you weak and you scary, I'm gonna be threatened. I'm the type of female is like, oh really? I'm gonna tell my such and such. So if you scary, you better not be with me because I'm definitely pushing you to have to fight somebody. If it comes down to that, because I'm expected to be protected.
That's the Bronx, Tanya. That's the Bronx. That's what we do in the Bronx.
No, yeah, you have to.
How we roll.
Secure, I want to feel secure. Like you got my back. So I definitely appreciate what Donna was saying because that whole leadership piece, but we want to feel secure and know we are protected by the person that we have that's standing by our side. So yeah.
Right.
No, I love that share, Tanya. I love it, and just speaking about, a weak man, sometimes, and since we're, again, this is a general conversation. This is not an attack on male or female. We're trying to converse and discuss so that we can come to an understanding of, the expectations or the real feelings so that when we leave here, we have a better understanding and a better way that we can have a resolve, as we go forward in our lives. But, there's a point, and I'm also going to read Sir Hale's comment because kind of parallels in a sense, part of what I'm about to say. Sometimes, as you spoke about, a weak man, some strong men have weak moments. The problem is we don't know what those weak moments are until they come. Because some things we've never experienced, we only know what we know. So while I'm seeing you and I've been here, like I thought you Superman to me, you my He-Man hero, you Mr. Hulk it out, you invincible, all of that. And then life happens. Like you said, life be lifing, life happens, something comes up, and all of a sudden the weak side of him shows up. And we as women get thrown off because that's something that we've never seen before. We have never seen them in this space before, So sometimes we have to not be quick to then label them as a weak male, versus having a weak moment. But I understand what you're saying because if you just, after a minute, you having too many weak moments, bro, we're going to have to reevaluate some things here. But Sir Hale says that women should never step into a male's role. Some of our women have to learn how to leave certain roles unoccupied. Let it be broken. Yeah. Let it be undone. Let the man be responsible. Now, I had to have a Selah and exhale on that myself. Because by nature, we as women, we're fixers. We're fixers. We look to fix it. If it does not get done, no, I can't wait. And it has to be done. It's patience. It's just, and it's like, well, bro, if you ain't going to do it, I'm going to put on my Timbs, I'm going to put on my cap. I'm going to go do it. But he makes an amazing point. And although we may be disappointed in the moment, although we may feel uncovered in that moment or even unheard in that moment, we have to really evaluate the weight of the moment. Is this something that is really life or death? Is it something that if this doesn't get done right now or done at all, is it going to affect our livelihood, our well-being? And if not, then, I can totally agree with what he's saying. And we as women, we have to learn how to then rest in that female energy and let the man be responsible. I think part of the struggle that we have, or I know that I have, is, bro, I could do bad by myself. And I don't necessarily want to, I don't want all of us to go down. Like, even in the Titanic, one of them made it to tell the story, you know, and I just don't want to be, that's my honest feeling, you know, but I have had to learn how, like he said, to let the man be responsible. Sometimes we just have to sit back and, let it ride, and just let it ride. Um,
But
this is a great
sometimes,
conversation. Go ahead, Burn.
sometimes, okay, like Tanya and I were saying earlier, and Dawn, you as well, we've all had strong male father figures in our lives. And where we fell short, daddy stepped in. But my father also taught me to be whatever he taught my brother, my sister and I learned too. I remember my sister wanting to paint her living room. Her husband walked out the door and went to work. We moved the furniture, we spackled the walls, we painted. That's what my dad taught us to do. So now I meet somebody who has no concept of spackling, painting, plumbing, nothing. And I'm okay with that. If you don't know, if I don't know. But hey, can we call a plumber? Can you make that call? Can you do that? So sometimes it's all about how you were raised. It's all about who you're with as well. Like my family, we all is nothing but full of strong women. So it's hard for some of us to step back and say, okay, let me be a little bit softer, because we've never seen that in our circle. We don't know that. So for me, I know that I could not be with someone who can't step in front of me and say, I got it, let me do it. I need someone that is like that. Because if you're not, you can best believe the strongness in me is going to rise up. Even with, even my dad and all of his brothers, all of the females in my family, we were all taught to be strong. We were all taught to take the lead. We were all, even with strong males in our lives. So I think it depends on who you're looking for, what you're looking for, how you were raised, what you see, the people that come and go in your life. Um, you know, some women are so used to taking the lead that when they do meet someone who's weaker, they don't recognize that it might be a little imbalanced, because that's not what they've ever seen or been taught. So, and same thing with men, they haven't been taught to take the lead, because maybe they were raised by a single woman who was very strong indeed. So it's a lot of different elements that come in and come into play. And I think we need to consider like who we're talking about and whose situation it is, because there's no two situations the same.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think all of that comes into play.
Absolutely. Exactly. Who we are is major, and our experiences is key, because you can only go for as far as you know. That's all that you can do. But even being a strong woman, like you said, and one who was raised and taught to do everything that your father taught your brother to do, because, well, I was going to say we were similarly raised, but not really. My dad taught us how to do certain things. My brothers did all and this is where it kind of gets into, and I don't want to go off, on a tangent, but this is where it kind of gets, we get stuck in some gender specific roles. Growing up, my brothers took out the garbage. They did, like the pots and pans. They did, the mopping. They did, a lot of the heavier, they carried bags and this and that. My sister and I, well, I speak for me. I know I surely didn't do all that. Matter of fact, I almost had a beating one night because I didn't carry a bag when I was supposed to by my mother. It's the one and only spanking I ever got in my life. But I'm saying that to say, I was, we were taught to, do these softer chores and things. But when I got older and I moved out on my own, guess what? There was nobody there to take out the garbage. So I would sit there looking at the garbage, looking around, and true story, like, well, who's supposed to take the garbage out? Like this is. And then when I looked around my apartment, it was like, boo, you by yourself. Like you got to take your own garbage out. And I was like, ew, nobody's doing. But that was how I was. And then I had to learn to get over it. And like, oh, I got to take my garbage out because I'm single. I wasn't married at the time. It's like I'm single. If you don't take the garbage out, it ain't going out. So, and I'm saying that to say sometimes we have to learn to break out of the spaces that we were raised in, because that was then and this is now. And you can't help what your past is. You can't help what your upbringing is, but I tend to remodel a lot of the thought patterns, the ideals, that were instilled in us as a child, because now it's like, how is that the world has changed so much? Like I can't really sit around, like that. I'll hold on to that principle and that's great, but sometimes we have to, we have to find our adjustment gauge. How much are you willing to adjust so that you're not losing yourself, but so that you're also not turning off a good man, or diminishing or demasculating a good man, because a lot of these men are good, they're great men, but again, they're having a moment. But when we respond certain ways, it really, I believe, tears our brothers down. So when we are resting so heavily in our feminine energy, it makes a man feel like he's not needed, he's not wanted, and he's not valued. So we have to be very mindful. I feel like we're gonna have we're gonna have to have a part two on this. We are, because we're getting close to the time, and this is good. I don't know. I'm having a great time. But I want to ask another question. Kind of leads into or bounces off of what Elaine just talked about and what we discussed, is that, yes, ma'am, Anae, your adjustment gauge, you're going to have to um, find your adjustment gauge, and really, because we tend to cut men off. I feel like this. Our men go through so much already. And I feel like women, from a biblical standpoint, and this is where I get in trouble. I am team female, but we got to hold it down for the brothers too. And the reason why I say that is because we were created to be a help that's meet, that's equal to, that supports the male. God created man, and he already had a job. He had the land, he had all of this, but there was no one there suited for him, and God made us to work alongside and to support him. Now, with that in mind, we tend to turn our brothers off, turn our men away. We tend to do more damage to them, and I know that this is really hard, to digest. But women, we have we have such a gift and an opportunity to heal our men. And we are when we shut ourselves down and shut them out, we're adding to the wound, and we're actually making it deeper. So sometimes I feel like women, I know, and I'm probably going to get in trouble with this, and it's okay because I'm going to take it. But we have to start first. We have to be the ones to start first in helping to rebuild our men. In that we have to be a little bit more gentle, because I believe that men, they really do want to be our support. They really do want to be our covering. They really want to be our heroes, so to speak. But life happens, so I feel like because we were made to be their help meet, that we have to find that position of help in those moments for them, instead of being so quick to be like, I got it and I don't need you, and see, this is what I'm talking about. It's a moment. Whatever that man has done all this other time up until this one moment, we've just cut them off completely. So, I feel that we have to take it down a bit and help encourage our men um, to get back up. We had another comment from Blind Guy, his wife, and their life, and I want to hear what you all have to say. And I definitely want my brother to chime back in, because he is up here, so he is our male presence on tonight. But Blind Guy, his wife, and their life says, my brothers had the boys role as well. Yard work, garbage. Once you're an adult, though, you do blend the roles to maintain. Corey takes out our trash. Listen, I have my son take out mine because he's grown. He's about 6'1", about 310. Bro, you taking out, you ain't paying no bills, you taking out the garbage every day. If I have just one orange peel, you taking it out. That's just what it is. Everybody earns their keep in here. Sir Hale says, excellent conversation. Says, bravo, I truly enjoy shows like this. The ladies are amazing. Mr. Donald has added some seasoned perspective tonight. I want to give my brother, and I'm so proud of him. I really love him. This, like I said, he's number 2 of 4. He is for real, my brother. Same blood, mother, father. We can't be no more kin than what we are. But I want to give him space to add his perspective in as well. Now that he is still. What say you, big brother?
This is what I say. This is really healthy for all of us, male, female alike. A lot of times us men don't really know what to say or know how to figure y'all ladies out, but I did want to go back to something my sister was saying about how we were raised. And yeah, my brother and I were the ones that took the garbage out, but my brother and I were also taught how to cook, clean, sew, and etc. Because the point that my father always made to us is, and I'm gonna say it just the way he said it, man, you ain't gonna find no woman that's gonna serve you hand and foot. So you better learn to do some things yourself, and you better learn. And in learning that makes me that basically makes you a partner, creates a partnership with your lady, wife, spouse, significant, and so forth. And I actually appreciate my dad teaching us that, because my sister said when she became an adult and she was out on her own, her struggle was, okay, who's coming to take this garbage out? But had my father also taught her to take garbage out the way he showed us how to sew, how to cook, how to clean. And my mother had a lot involved in that too. I know.
I just want to jump in and let you know, I didn't know how to take out the garbage, but I did know how to change the oil, to change the tire. I knew how to do those things. I could fix the car though, but being the garbage is a struggle.
But look how
and my brother didn't use no sugar in the Kool-Aid either. He forgot that part. But go ahead.
Yeah, I did forget.
This is why you need the woman, because we bring the sugar. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's so. I just want to put out there quite a few things that I find to be very important. After so many years, there's so much I want to say, but I don't want to really take up all the time. To bottom line it, through all my experiences and transitions in learning and identifying myself as a man and where I fit in, and where my failures have been and where my fit have been. I can say that even though I've had some pretty negative experiences, but I'm sure we've all had negative experiences. I've gleaned from those negative experiences. I've gleaned how to be a better man. I glean an understanding as to how no woman wants to have a man that does not give her a sense of security. But I also would like to encourage women to realize that, every man is not necessarily a weak man, and you're not to necessarily mother him Because speaking from a male perspective, no man wants to feel like you're mothering him. Encourage him. Identify with what it is in him that you see that he can do. Don't set expectations that he can't meet. Don't look. If you want to marry if you want him to be a millionaire, but he can only be a millionaire, that's who you got. That's who you got. Because if you wanted a millionaire, you'd have waited for the millionaire. Probably a long time, but I'm sure he would have come. But
that's who you got. That's who you got.
That's who you chose.
Because
and that's who you got.
Women who set expectations beyond what they have present before them are setting themselves up for failure, and they're setting themselves up for settling. And the same applies to men. But again, because I identify a lot with women because I have a lot of female friends. I have more daughters than sons. I mean, every workplace I'm the only guy. And so I see and hear things like what I heard someone say earlier about, oh, well, you listen, your co-workers are talking badly about their husbands. Why on earth would you go to work and talk badly about your husband? And then at the Christmas party, when everybody meet him, they'd be like, that must be the deadbeat she talking about. Just look at him. And mind you, you know nothing. You don't know the truth behind what goes on behind the door, because she could be the dominating part of the relationship that's causing him to be the weaker part. But again, just to sum up everything, I guess I would have, and like my sister said, there's probably going to be a part 2 on this. I hope there is, because this is made healthy for me, for us, for everybody that's listening and chiming in. That yes, men, hey, listen, fellas, I get it. Sometimes the woman take over where you don't want her to, but you got to let her know, honey, I can handle this. I'll tag you in when I need you or where I need you. Be observant of what he's doing. Be his counselor, be his coach, but don't just jump in and then take over and then make him feel just like I heard it said, like he's not sufficient. Ladies, make better choices if you're not satisfied with the choices that you made. Sit down and write out who you want. You ain't gonna get Denzel, so stop that, because that's not gonna happen. Okay, he's already spoken for. Stop it. Quit it. Stop the celebrity searching expectation of a man. Stop looking for him to have, certain attributes that are, well, no, let me correct myself. Have him set the attributes that you are expecting from him, but make them realistic for you, not realistic for your dream man, dream book. Because if you want for that to happen, you might as well go buy a Ken doll and put it on your dresser or wherever you want to put it, because that's the only perfect man, in my opinion, is the one that some Mattel created called Ken. Ease up and by the way, ease up with the empowerment at home. You're the boss at the job. I got it. But don't bring that energy into your home life and start being the controlling boss there too. It's nothing, and I'm not telling any woman that's listening to this and that will read this. Notice I didn't say nothing about being submissive. I'm saying be cooperative, be a partner. Step in where your role plays in. In the sports, every sport has somebody that plays a position. Play your position. Your position is not to take over and be the quarterback when you're the receiver. Your position is not to take over. You get the point. Have the intention of wanting a partnership with your partner and step in on your role where you need to be. And most of all, love your man from your heart, and men, love your women like the queens that they are. I know I started talking about what the Bible says, but I'm also talking realistically from my heart. That from experience, as well in this conversation that I'm hearing, we need to identify our roles, period. As a man, I lead, I empower, I purpose, and I pursue. As women, we want y'all to feel comfortable, secure. We want y'all to be able to look at us as leaders and partners. Partnership with us. Tell us what it is we need to be. Set reasonable expectations, not your dreams. I can't look. I tell my wife every day, honey, I can meet your expectations, but I cannot fill your dreams, because some of her dreams is really out there. Like she wants a BMW. Yeah, that's a dream. I'm never gonna buy you a BMW. That's for I don't do that. Okay? I don't do that. You buy the BMW. Matter of fact, buy two, buy me one in black. You can get yours the way you want it. Yeah. So much more to say on that, but I think the bottom line is, from my experience, I just want to encourage you ladies. Hey, look, you women do awesome things. You're taking over. You're in the right places. But some of your feminist friends need to step back for a minute. Some of them really need to take a deep breath and realize nothing wrong with you being in leadership. Nothing wrong with you wanting to be successful. Um, but don't kill a man's spirit, in
Hmm.
the process. Again, know the difference. When you're the empowered woman at the job, you're leading a different type of people. When you're the empowered woman at home, you're leading a different type of people. And sometimes, even as leaders, ourselves being one, we have to step back and observe our our our, our team, and
True.
and just basically kind of, am I too much at home and not enough at work? Am I too much at work and not enough at home? Balance it. And I pass the mic.
Well, thank you, Donald Brathwaite. I endorse you, you big brother, number 2 or 4. No, but you said really good. And this is the thing, we need to make it comfortable for our men to be able to speak and speak freely, and we have to let them know that we hear them, because otherwise they shut down. And here we are. A lot of times men don't act, and I'm not a man, but I'm only speaking from my experience and just being honest. Men don't act or react because we have shut them down and they don't feel heard. All right, it's about to get spicy now. All right, because Sir Hale is coming up. But I did want to just, there was a concern for you, Donald. So I want to read the comment from our number one Bravette Ene. She said, no sugar in the Kool-Aid. Is he still on punishment for that crime? Ene, I want you to know that Donald is okay. We have forgiven him for no sugar in the Kool-Aid. But he is no longer allowed to make Kool-Aid at our family gatherings. He has to bring bottled beverages that are pre-made. But he's good. But he's good. But he's good. um, Also, let's see. We have Theo, my girl, my fellow author, who said that part: make better choices. Yes, we have to absolutely make better choices. Welcome, Sir Hale, to the platform, our brave bro. And the only thing
Hey, good to
that
see
I
you.
want to say and add also before we give some space to Sir Hale is that my brother brought up a good point of, he said he wasn't going to mention submission. Well, submission is a word that I have fought with for a very long time. That goes hand in hand with that I don't need a man thing. We hear the word submission, and women, I don't know about, I'm just being honest. You say the word submission to me back in the day, I get angry. My spirit is vexed. I'm like, bro, who you talking to? Submit to what? Because I got me, but I was much younger then, over 50 now, and on this side, um, I've learned that submission is not a bad word. It is not, it is a word, it is only as hard as we make it. And when we submit, what we are doing, women, is we are taking the responsibility off of our shoulders. We are so tight and so tense because we keep holding on to stuff. As Sir Hale said earlier, stay in, let it stay broken, let it just be. Let it go undone. But we struggle. And I'm being honest, I'm being transparent. I struggled with that word. You want to see me get mad? That is the easiest way. Tell me I need to submit. What, sir? What do you submit to what? Because I do this for myself, I do that for myself, I do that for myself. I already got that. I know how to do this. I don't need you to do that. I need you to keep up with me. So what am I submitting to? And if we're honest, we all feel that way in some way, shape, or form, or we have. But I've learned that submission is not a bad thing. It's actually a benefit to us as women. When you submit, you're allowing that man to cover you. He don't want to have to fight you to cover you. So I'm gonna end there. I want to give Sir Hale the floor to speak. Welcome, Sir Hale. It's good to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you. First of all, salute to Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, I love hearing y'all talk. I said this before, and I came up here for a couple of reasons. And salute to you, Mr. Donald. Good to see you, sir. I appreciate hearing you tonight. I think it's when we talk about submission, why it's such a hard thing is because the word submission is attached to so many words like weak or voiceless or, but when you look at it from a biblical definition, submission really is a compliment because what this suggests is that the thing that's submitting is useful. It's an instrument used to do something. And I think that we don't promote that enough. Like a woman can't submit if she doesn't have anything to offer. So if the woman who can't submit, they don't have any power, any influence, any authority, any creativity, any intelligence. They don't have any instrument worth submitting, right? So it's really a compliment when you look for it. And I think that what has happened in a lot of conversations is the wrong men have been dominating the conversation about submission. And so now the association with submission is just, she's got to shut up. She's got to be quiet. She's got to, she's got to be less than who she is. And that's not what submission is really about. So I wanted to put that out there for women who are listening to this. It's important to see submission in action from a man who respects what that submission is. I tell men this all the time. You get a submissive woman, it's almost a scary thing to deal with because you start to realize it all falls on your shoulders. Like you say you want her to be submissive. Well, everything falls on you. You got to make sure this woman is well taken care of. Make sure she's protected. Make sure she's loved. It's all on you, sir. So if you want this submission, you got to be prepared to take this responsibility that comes with that. So, but my question that I want to ask you all is this. So the conversation is mature, but how do we get 20-year-olds they can't get this level of seasoning in their 20s, right? So, you can't skip years, but is there a way for 20-year-olds, young 30-year-olds to have some of this knowledge that I think would help a lot of people stick together longer, right? I think a lot of people end up going through decades of mistakes and then they finally learned the lesson. And then once they got all the knowledge, they done burn every bridge. They done, you know what I mean? And then you look back and it's like, I could have made this marriage work. I could have made this work if only I knew then what I know now, right? That whole saying. So how do we get 20-year-olds and young 30-year-olds to at least be on the mind frame of what you are all talking about today? And Don B, you said something that I thought was profound. It's knowing what I was raised and being able to adapt to the environment in the time that I'm in now. I think that was very profound. So how do we get people who are in their 20s and early 30s to get there without being there?
Platforms like this.
True.
You got all these social media platforms where where everybody's just putting whatever they want on there. Look, we might not be able to gather people in big spaces and big places, but this is worldwide. You put something together, in answer to your question, you put something together as often as what we're doing right now and put it out there on the TikTok, Facebook, and all the other social medias that are out there, somebody's looking for this. Mm-hmm. Somebody's looking for just what you asked, some 20, 30-year-old. Just like, to your question. There's 20, 30 years old out there saying, will somebody please teach me this, what we're covering.
I agree with what Don was saying. There's a woman chat group, the DMV, and someone just today said, are there any women in the group ages 57 and older? And some of us, a lot of people may be mothers, but there's still women who need mother figures, who still need the advice of mothers. So platforms like this, modeling, coaching, and just having those authentic conversations with women, they're needed and they're helpful. So I agree. We should continue.
Elaine, what say you?
I have a lot of young people in my life. So I agree with Tanya. Authentic conversation, one-on-one conversations. Again, just like us, we've all got different backgrounds. We've all experienced different things. So have they. So when they ask me questions, they could be the same question, but each of them come from a different background. I do have one niece, adopted niece. She's in her 20s. She's very alpha female. And so we have conversations about how to soften up. We have conversations about how she should behave when she meets someone, how to go on a date, how to dress more feminine if that's what she wishes, um, and she has a brother, she has a mother, she has other males in her life. But I find that young people get that one person that they feel like is stable and they're willing to have very open dialogue. And that's the chance that you have to hear what they have to say, because they all have something to say. And then not to take over the conversation, but I kind of counteract it with other questions. Like if she asks me once, why wouldn't someone want to date me? And her brother has similar issues. I want to meet a woman and I want to get married and I want to have a family. I don't understand what is the holdup. And so we talk about things like that. And I think they appreciate the one-on-one focus. And they may enjoy a platform such as this, but not all of them would do something like this where we're the older ones on the platform and then they're the younger ones coming on. Maybe if they were all the same age, I'm not sure. I don't know. I just know that they appreciate the one-on-one. My nieces, my nephews, and they're all level-headed young people. It's just that we think differently because we've already been through what they've been through. So now they're just looking for a little bit of guidance. They really are. And that one-on-one conversation, they don't forget anything. They'll remember everything you say and everything you do.
That's good. That's good. I want to just read some comments, and then I want to give my share to the question also. So Theodora says, Ine, our Bravet, number one Bravet, says, great question, Sir Hale. Then Theodora says, it's having platforms like this with positive content. Ine says, being honest about experiences. Good one. Christy Ishmael says, submission to the right man, right place, right time. It is an easy way when it's God's ordained partnership. Theodore also come back and said it's having women. This is into response to Sir Hale's question. It is having women and men willing to reach back and teach, coach, and mentor. And Mighty Minutes with Miss Deb says, yeah, authenticity is so important. Now, my share answer to your question, and it's a good question. I say it's because I have a 21-year-old. My son will be 21 in a week. Now, what I've come to understand and realize is that while we have this great platform, and this is where most of our young people are, but we are battling, and it's funny, I actually have a ministry assignment tomorrow night with young people for something similar to this tomorrow night. And one thing that I shared with those who are hosting is that we have to understand the culture that our children are born into right now. So the way that we're talking amongst each other and the way that we're sharing, we have to be strategic in how we reach our 20-year-olds, that gap. And we have to understand that there's a language that we have to learn and adapt in order to be able to be relative to them in their culture. Because as he was saying, like, they're not in that mature place. They're trying to grow to that mature place. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind as we are considering how do we reach them, and not just reach them, but how do we reach them and make it stick? And a lot of that has to come with, we have to be sure that we are healed ourselves. We have to be sure that we are willing to be transparent about our experiences ourselves. We have to, even in the places where we're not healed, we have to be willing to be honest about our journey and where we are. Because these kids today, they can spot a fake in a heartbeat. Quicker than they open their eyes, they come out this way. They're born into this culture, into this space, and now we don't want them to repeat the same things that we have, but it has to start with us. Like, I want to stay at home, even though what we considered stuff starting at home, our homes look way different now than they did when we were coming up. So again, we have to learn how to take the principles that we had and be able to flip it into a speech, a language, and into an authentic conversation that our young people can grab hold of. Where it starts, you're not going to get everybody at the same time. But this is one of my favorite analogies to use. Jesus took 12 and took over the world. If you just work with the few that we can reach, when the young people that they're with see the changes in their lives, once they've embraced conversations like these, they then are going to be infectious in helping to, for lack of a better word, convert others in their generation. But we have to be willing to avail ourselves to them. And so that's my share on that question.
Absolutely love that. I got one more thing that I'm going to get out of the way. So, Tanya, you said something earlier that really got me. So you said, in terms of personality, you said you there's a certain kind of man you got to be with, because if you go say, baby, it's time to come fight, and he ain't ready to come fight, it's gonna be a big problem. And so I just wanted to offer some perspective on that. I think that we need to promote a sort of old school man, and what I mean by that is, I think today we have men that if you came and said, hey, it's a fight, I need you to come take care of it, he will be very quick to get up there, go pull out a pistol, go and be ready to go. What women need is a quiet, thoughtful man. Like, I think those kind of men are undervalued and underappreciated. The old school kind of men who they're not always they're not always into stuff. They kind of got that quiet personality, but when they speak, everybody knows he is saying something. And when he takes action, his presence is felt. I think particularly with women who get outgoing personalities, it is important that you don't find a man who feels the way you do. You got to find a man who anchors you. And let me give you an example. So I'm a 35-year-old man in a 67-year-old body. Vice versa. I'm a 67-year-old man at 35. So my wife is outgoing. She just goes. I'm methodical with what I do. So her and her mom ended up going to the store, and they bought something really heavy, waiting to get out the truck. And so they said, hey, can you come out here and get this, pick up this, help us bring this thing in. And I said, give me about 5 minutes. Well, they weren't trying to wait 5 minutes. They wanted it to be in their house. I said, give me 5 minutes. And what I did is I let them struggle. I mean, they were trying to pull it in. They called all the kids outside. They sweating and struggling. And I watched them for a few minutes. I was cracking up. This is wonderful. And then I went out there, I picked it up by my stuff, brought it into the home. It took me literally 30 seconds to do what they struggle with for 10 minutes. And the lesson that I was trying to teach them is sometimes you have to learn to quiet yourself. That just because you want me to do something right now, that's not the way men operate. If a man says, I'm going to take care of this, give me this amount of time, and then you go and you just go do it yourself, what you're saying is, I don't trust you. You know what I mean? I'm not willing to wait on you to do what I asked you to do. You see what I'm saying? And so women who got those outgoing personalities a lot of times need a man that is reserved and methodical to help anchor you. And those kind of women ultimately end up appreciating those kind of men because they bring a level of balance and stability to their lives. So I wanted to bring that perspective in advocating for the quiet but powerful men.
Can I share? So when I'm saying that, and I definitely was talking about a sense of security. So
Absolutely.
I myself have never been in a fight in my life. My father wasn't putting his hands on nobody, but when he spoke, people understood what he was saying. When I
Absolutely.
was saying that, that's what I mean. Sense of security. If something needs to be taken care of, I know that your presence alone, if I say my dude is about to, they knew, they understood, he's about to come on the scene. So, which is funny what you're saying. Anybody that I've ever been with my outgoing self, I've been with someone who was quieter
Absolutely. Yep.
because they're the type of people that I end up meshing well with. So what you're saying, I absolutely agree with. So I didn't want you to think that I was out here. You know, I'm from the Bronx, but I'm an educated Christian. So my family was definitely making sure that we took care of things, but we used our brain, we used our mouths, and there was a sense of security. So that is what I was referring to.
Absolutely. And I knew what you mean. I'm just, a lot of young ladies I hear, they want that. I'm like, lady, you don't want a man that reacts to everything, because part of masculinity is being calm and cool under pressure. So a bunch appreciated. So much respect to all of you. Thanks for letting me up tonight. I hope to see you guys again very soon.
Well, don't leave yet. I have one more question for Sir Hale.
Oh, okay.
So with the you asking your wife and her mom to wait, do you have that same patience when your wife asks you to wait 5 minutes? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So most of the time, my wife, she don't ask me to wait because she operates in secrecy. Right. So she do stuff that she really don't want me to know about all the time, like all those Amazon boxes that come in. So she really don't want me to know. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different. But yeah, I'm a man of patience. And this is not, I've not always been this way. And I've been a young man. I got married at 19 years old. And at first, when you don't know about life, you got to respond to everything. As you get older, you got to respond to everything. Just give it a little time. You know what I mean? And stuff slows down and is less stressful. So yes. So when I tell my wife to give me a little time, it's not that even I need her to wait because I'm really busy. Is that as a man, I see stuff, and I'm like, hold on, there's a level of anxiety operating here, and I know how to minister to that. And it is little moments that I take, you know what I mean, to minister to that anxiety. So baby, just wait. And then of course, the big kisses are you're my hero, but it's a lesson in that. Like if you ask me to do something, or if I ask you to do something and you say, babe, I need a few minutes, and then I say, you know what, I'm gonna go do it myself. I've done that before. I burnt food because of that. You know what I mean? You don't do good stuff if you operate because you mad that they didn't do it when you want to do. You mess stuff up that way, right? So sometimes giving it 5 minutes can save some stuff.
I come from a family where no one waits for anything, so I completely understand, and it has nothing to do with your role and just your personality. But
absolutely,
but one of the things I do want to say, and then I'm going to sign off and let Dawn do what she does, is that as you get older, as I'm getting closer to the 60 mark, the things that I would like to impart to younger people are things that I wish someone told me when I was younger, about this energy that you will have. But also, as you get older, you are in charge of your own destiny. So however you decide that you want to be, just keep in mind that might be either a barrier to who you really want to be with, or it could be an opening. So how you behave, how your personality is, how your energy is, that's what you want. What you want to attract is what you want to put out there. That's the thing that I always remember now as I've gotten older. Those are not the things when you're a kid, because you think you're going to live forever when you're in your 20s and 30s. When you get to your 50s, closer to 60, your mindset changes. And especially, if you have been married more than once, or if you've never been married. These are the things that I would like to impart into our young ladies. I had a friend, she passed away, but we had a talk. When we go into this place, don't do this, don't do that. If this is what you want, don't behave this way. And poof, pow, as soon as we walked in the door, all of what we talked about went right out of her mind, and she did what she always knew to do. And the men reacted to that. And then she saw what I was talking about. So sometimes even with young people, you can talk to your blue in the face until they get into that situation. Then they go, oh yeah, I remember he or she told me not to or to do this. So I feel like it's just like the Bible says, train up a child in the way they should go. And when they get older or get in a bad situation, they will remember the training that you have given to them. But I just feel like as we get older, how we use our energy, good or bad, makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I just want to say, if you're almost 60, you look fantastic. May God keep on blessing you. And much love to everybody on the panel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sir
Bye.
Hale. We love you here. Bravo with Sheila. Yes. So I love Sir
I'm
Hale.
signing off. I gotta go. I'll talk to
All
you.
right. All right. Thank you, Bern, for popping on and being a part of this great conversation. It has been and is a great conversation. We could go all night. We won't. We'll do a marathon another night. But there's definitely going to be a part two to this. I hope you all have been enjoying the conversation. I love the comments. Mighty Minutes with Miss Deb says the balance, get it, educated Christian. Also, are you a magnet or repellent for the person you want? This has been awesome, awesome, and awesome. And we're gonna wrap it up. I'll tell you, we could stay here all night, but we're gonna have a part two because there's so much more to discuss. Now that we've opened up this conversation, we're going to have a part two because there's so much more to discuss. Now that we have opened up this conversation. We want to keep it going and we want to keep it flowing. And we hope that you have enjoyed it thus far. So I do want to leave. I want to get our final thoughts from our remaining panelists on tonight. Next time we come together on this conversation, I want to start with the question. So, those of you who are watching us, I want to thank you so much for chiming in, for being here. Please like, subscribe, and share the Bravo with Sheila platform. If you enjoyed this conversation, we are usually on every Tuesday and Thursday night doing this very thing. We stir it up here. We open up the box. And if you think tonight is good, wait until the queen herself comes back on the Pastor Sheila Ingram. That's my auntie, my spiritual auntie. She is my mentor in these YouTube and podcast streets here. So I am in great hands, I promise you. But we want to continue this discussion. So again, please like, subscribe, and share the Bravo with Sheila network, the platform, so that every time we're coming on, you are alerted to the conversations that will be happening, because this is one of many. But I want us to keep in mind, or think of this thought. This is one question we didn't get to, is does this independence that we have as women, okay, does it satisfy the need for the male presence? We're resting in, I got all of this, I can do all of this for myself? That's wonderful, but is it really satisfying the need that we instinctively have for the male presence? And if not, or if so, why does it feel like a challenge? Why do we feel challenged that we can only have one or the other? So just keep that's just food for thought. And before we bring it to a end, I want to find out from our panelists last words, and what would they like to leave with our audience on today. So I'm going to, I know we usually do ladies first, but again, we want our men to feel special on tonight. So I'm gonna ask my brother to give us a quick wrap up. What would you like to leave with the audience as your last words of advice, so to speak?
Just to take time and apply what you've heard tonight and sit down and do your own self-assessment. Learn about yourself and how you can make the improvements where the improvements count or where they matter. Again, we didn't start this discussion as a male-female bashing thing. It had nothing to do with that. but it had to do with how do men and women communicate today, or look at how the roles have changed. You know, as far as leadership, men, it's all right to let women lead where they are supposed to lead, and women let men lead where they are supposed to lead. So the message I leave for everyone tonight is, hey, listen, tune in next time because it's getting better and better.
All right. That's my brother. Thank you, 2 or 4. Now we're going to pass the mic on to my sister. I love her so much. Tidbit with T. That's my girl. Tanya, what would you like to share?
So my last thought would be lead with love. If everyone took the time to wake up every day and say, how can I serve this person? It will be leading with love, because sometimes we're so consumed with what can someone do for me. But if you wake up every day and you're leading with love, you can never go wrong.
Absolutely. Love that.
Amen. That's good. And I love it and I appreciate it. And my final thoughts are simply this. Ladies, please understand we do not have to choose. You can have it both. We don't have to rest so hard in our independent femininity that we are discounting and dismissing some really great men who want to come and partner with us and cover us and push us along where we have to go. It's better when we do it together. So let's learn how to maybe create some balance, take down some walls, and start to trust as we choose wisely. As my mentor, the great Pastor Sheila Ingram, the Queen Bravo herself, says, when nothing changes, nothing changes. So, with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It was a blessing to be in the driver's seat. I look forward to doing it again. Thank you to Tanya, to Donald, to Elaine, to Sir Hale, to everyone. Guys, please don't go anywhere. Tanya and Donald, hang in there with me. And our brave brothers and our bravettes, love you, love you, love you. We couldn't do this without you. We do this for you. So we look forward to seeing you next time. Again, like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you next time. We're going to go to our closing. Stay blessed. Tanya, Daniel, don't go nowhere.